I have received a copy of the file by someone that I trust. It is 224 pages long, and I am through the first 200 pages of it, and I can tell you that, and I'm going to swiftly kind of move down to the bottom. Oh, here we go. There's some of the more annoying. Visitor's massage, PB. I don't know what that means. There was a PB. There was a repeated flight log designation of PBI. Would you look up PBI and see what that is in airport terminology? Visitor's massage PB. That's complete.
Palm Beach.
Well, that makes sense then. So the visitor's massage would be the Palm Beach massage, which is completely redacted. I'm looking at that. Jeffrey E. Epstein redacted. Ghislaine Maxwell redacted. So here's what we got in this. Masseuses. And then it's redacting all of the masseuses because many of them would potentially be victims, actually, in this case. But there are, all of them are redacted, but there are 254 masseuses listed. All right, so I've gone through the 224 pages, and I can tell you this. The first 120 pages are flight logs, Jeffrey Epstein flight logs, that were already made publicly available during the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. The other every other page, with the exception of the first two, are Rolodex, and everything in the Rolodex of Jeffrey Epstein has been redacted except for the name of the individuals, because there's a location and telephone numbers. All of that has been redacted. And then at the end, there are a few pages with masseuses. All of it has been redacted in that case. But this does start with the letter from the Office of the Attorney General dated February 27th, 2025. And I'm going to read you that letter and get your thoughts on all of this. Now, if you're upset, you should be. We've learned nothing new. All of this is old information. We're told that New York is withholding information not only from the head of the FBI, but also from the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi. I've been watching our friends on #NeverCNN, and they seem completely uninterested in this story. As a matter of fact, for the last 2 hours, I've not seen one mention of this story on CNN. I watch CNN so you don't have to, friends. But let me read you the letter from the Office of the Attorney General. Now, this was included in the package that I received from a trusted source. So I don't know if it is a part of the package that these so-called influencers received earlier today when they got their commemorative hats and they were smiling and glad-handed and holding them up. Yay, look at what we got. And it's a bunch of nothing. Just a gross misreading of the room. A gross misreading of the situation. This is not by any stretch of the imagination a deal breaker. I mean, obviously, Donald Trump's going to do great things in his first or second term. Donald Trump's going to do great things in his first 100 days, in his second 100 days. And all of this is eventually going to be worked out, one hopes. But I have a very difficult time understanding how anyone could not take this with the seriousness that it deserves. But sadly, this photo opportunity that happened at the White House earlier today, where, according to one of the influencers, as Ken Weaver has told you, where Pam Bondi was there and Kash Patel was there and Donald Trump made an appearance and Vice President Vance was apparently there, and all of them were there watching as these folders were handed out. First off, why would you not hand them out electronically to the entirety of the American people? You knew it would be leaked. Why are you going through the process of glad-handing influencers? I mean, genuinely, you know, I've got it, right? Like, it's 6:12 in the Central Time Zone. I've got it. So that's how long it took for me to get the entire thing that these people had. Why did you give it to them? I'm not upset that you didn't. I'm upset that you would do all of that. All of that's performative. And I don't understand why it happened. And before y'all go getting mad at me, it's okay to be annoyed at the Trump administration every once in a while. That's perfectly acceptable, especially when it's something like this that is completely and wholly avoidable. This letter that I'm about to read you does not at all jive with what apparently happened earlier this afternoon at the White House. Maybe at the time Pam Bondi thought that this was all of it, but it's not all of it. There's an additional thousands of pages and audio documents and video documents. Why is all of this important? Many of the people that involved themselves with the scummy, disgusting, evil practices of Jeffrey Epstein, many of those people will never be held to account in the proper fashion on this earth. I don't know if you believe as I do, but I believe that there will be an accounting for these individuals. Some of these people are accused of the most disgusting behavior imaginable outside of murder. Some people would make the argument that some of the behavior that's been accused is even worse because the victim is forced to live with what happened to them for the rest of their lives. We're talking about things like child rape, pedophilia. These individuals that have been accused and not convicted, not tried, accused, were some of the most powerful people on planet Earth. Some of them were powerful because of their money, others their influence. That power shielded them for a long time. That power shielded Jeffrey Epstein. His ability to blackmail these powerful individuals shielded Jeffrey Epstein. Somehow, and we don't go through, I don't need to go through all of the details here with you today. You can look it up for yourself, but somehow, some way, justice broke through with Jeffrey Epstein and eventually with Ghislaine Maxwell. But there are others that need to be held to account. There are people that should live the rest of their day, if not in a prison cell, in shame. They should be social lepers. We should all condemn them as a society, as a planet, for what some of them have been accused of doing. That is my interest. I hope it's yours. Dear Director Patel, writes the Attorney General of the United States, this happened today. Before you came into office, I requested the full and complete files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein's list of contacts, a list of victims' names, and phone numbers. I just related that to you. That's what I just received. I repeatedly questioned whether this was a full set of documents responsive to my request and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, that would have been yesterday, right? This was written today. I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents relating to the investigation and indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I to learn this new information. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be no withholdings and limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of the victims and in accordance with law, as I've done my entire career as a prosecutor. I am also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. I appreciate your immediate attention to this important matter. I know that we are both committed to the transparency for the American people. I look forward to continuing to work with you to serve our president and our country. Sincerely, Pamela Bondi, Attorney General. That was the first page of the document file that I received, which leads me to believe that that was the first page of the document file that all these people received. which makes me wonder why in the hell they held that weird photo op. And why Pamela Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, did not step forward before a microphone and the American people and explain all of this to us publicly. Did she think there would be no interest? Did they think that this would be cute? Sean, thank you for your patience. I do appreciate it. You're up, brother.
No problem, Matt. Thanks for having me on, man. Big fan of the show. You, Ken, and Chris, great chemistry, by the way. I'm digging the new lineup here. But
thank you.
We'll get right into the topic at hand. Obviously, we're talking about Epstein.
By the way, before I let you go, I'm going to let you get on a roll. But before I let you go, of those two, one of those two is tip top. I'll tell you, one of those two.
Oh yeah, you're going to leave it to me to guess which one?
Tip top. The other, anyway. But go right ahead, Sean.
All right, fair enough. So yeah, we'll get into the Epstein stuff here. The one thing I wanted to do first off is just give a disclaimer here. I'm completely politically impartial. I do not adhere to either side of the phony left-right dichotomy. To me, it's largely just serves as a way to divide the public and sort of provide us with two meaningless outlets. But I think one thing that nobody's really talking about regarding the Epstein situation is that this is a very unifying issue. This has the potential to completely unite the public. And that's a no-go for the global crime syndicate. The establishment who's trying to formulate a one-world government. And, I would just like to add one more thing that seems to be conveniently kind of glossed over or even overlooked by conservatives. It's not an indictment on conservatives. I'm just pointing out the obvious that there was evidence to support an extensive relationship between Mr. Epstein and Mr. Trump. And that's often overlooked, and it seems as if they're almost giving him the benefit of the doubt when perhaps he did not deserve it. All politicians should be held to the same standard. And I guess I'm just trying to remind everybody that we're all on the same team, and this issue is too important to just, to allow them to get away with this sort of soft disclosure where nothing really happens and nothing's leaked. And we're really just kind of on the same page. So those are really my thoughts on the situation.
Well, and I would agree with most everything you said. I think you take a little editorial license when you use the word extensive when it comes to the relationship between Trump and Epstein. But, that's fine. I'm not going to quibble with it, but there was a documented relationship between Epstein and Trump. There was Epstein had a documented relationship with a lot of powerful people, and not all of them engaged in his pedophilic behavior. Obviously. So I would agree with you that there are some that want to believe that relationship did not exist, just as many on the political left want to dismiss the relationship that existed between Clinton and right. Those are the two, kind of tit for tat examples when it becomes political that always come up, right?
Exactly.
What I want is transparency and truthfulness. And because someone was on a flight, Trump's relationship with Epstein is documented in the flight logs and the several pictures that are available for public viewing. Obviously Bill Clinton's a relationship, I almost said extensive, I won't say that, but relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, present on the flight logs, present with photographic documentation. I want to know the bottom line truth on all of his relationships, and I want to know how close any and all public, powerful individuals came to engaging in the ring that he was running. That's all I want to know.
This information is so detrimental to the overall integrity of the global crime syndicate that, in my opinion, really owns both parties. It just seems unlikely that we're going to get a full disclosure, and they're just going to kind of continue to sort of string us along with these, breadcrumbs to appease us. And I don't know. I'm not particularly hopeful, but I don't know. My fingers are crossed, I guess.
Well, we'll see. And I don't know that and thank you, Sean, for the call. I don't know quite what Sean means when he talks about the global crime syndicate. Maybe I could have asked him, but, I don't know that, Donald Trump has an ability to be controlled by anybody else. I'm not suggesting that Donald Trump has not done things that he regrets in his life privately. He will certainly not admit them publicly. And on the other hand, I would not suggest that Donald Trump is engaged in any sort of behavior that would be criminal in nature with regard to Jeffrey Epstein. But what we do know about Donald Trump lends me to believe that Donald Trump's not going to be in a situation where he is controlled by anyone else. That I do not believe is in his nature. But I could be wrong. Let's see. I just want the truth. I want transparency. I want the Band-Aid ripped off. It's high time it happened.